Okay, so I'm gonna be talking about the story of a princess, which is a Nicaraguan legend. Her name is uh, Princess Oyanka. Okay, so uh, I'm gonna give you a summary of this story. There's a story that tells us about the everlasting love of a couple that goes back to the 16th century when Spaniards arrived to America, specifically to Nicaragua. There were these people that lived near what today is known as the Valley of Sebaco, a very small Indian nation that lived prosperously in this end. Okay, so one day when the chief learned about the disaster Spaniards were causing in other communities or Indian cities, they decided to hide their golden treasures secretly so that they'll never find them. When they finally faced Spaniards, they tried to be social, though things at the end turned very bad for both sides. The leader of that place held several combats with the Spaniards in order to keep them away from their people and treasures. In one of the combats, a Spanish man who was a principal of the company died. This man had a family in Cordoba, Spain. So then the widow, with no other resources because she has become a widow, had to leave her son in a monastery in order to keep him safe and sound. Years later, this boy named Jose left the monastery in order to seek for his father's steps and did a long journey until he arrived to a city pretty close to the Indian people. There, he met the Princess Oyanka, whom he fell in love with and had a relationship, not forgetting his main plans, which were to become rich through the gold of that place. He persuaded the princess to take him to the treasury. Having learned about what the couple did, the chief and father of the princess sent for them. He first imprisoned his daughter and later he sold the boy to possible enemies in order that they get a reward for him. Okay. After they both were separated, she felt in a deep dream, longing to see one day her beloved one. After time passed, she turned into a mountain, still waiting for her lover. In the case of the boy, it is said that he wanders looking for her. Okay, okay. Now I'm talking about the setting. The setting is mainly presented in 1590 during the Nicaraguan conquest. The setting is mainly the Valley of Sebaco. Here occurred the vast majority of events. For example, the reason for the Spaniards to come, their conflict with the Indians, the death of the principal in of the Spaniards company, the coming of his son, then the relationship, and finally the sad separation. Okay, now let's talk about the origin. The origin is from the people that live near the Valley of Sebaco. Uh, they got this idea of creating this legend because of the appearance of a woman laying down on earth, in which is seen on certain mountains in the surroundings of the valley. Okay, Eddie Arauz, uh, he was in charge of compiling this story in his book Matagalpa y sus gentes. Now, finally, there are two themes I chose. The first one is whatever you try to hide will always come to be a well known fact. This is regarding when the Indians tried to secret their treasures. At the end, the Spaniards knew that they had the treasures, and The second one is not all our efforts end up giving us the expected results. I took this one from the results uh, that his mother got when he left the monastery, the Franciscan monastery, and he instead tried to follow his father's steps.